So I want to do this co-op conversation about co-op purchases. I've mentioned before in several of my posts about the power of buying as a cooperative. Basically, buying something like this, which is a fourplex with several well-maintained, good-looking units on the property. So imagine if two, three, or four different households came together to purchase this property. You can see it's very good condition, beautiful space, and they're asking 349. So the mortgage, if you had a 5% down payment, um, and with property taxes, insurances, everything included, would be about 2,200 a month. Now imagine that between, let's say for example, there's two of you guys, and two of you live in two of the four units, and then you rent out the other two spaces. So if you rent out the other two spaces, and you get a little income coming in from there, it pays part of this mortgage, right? So let's imagine that, going back to the property's information, they showed here where this is the rent for the three occupied units right now, right? So if you get rents from two of the units, it pays off a big portion of the mortgage and possibly all of the mortgage, depending on how you structure it. But the idea is that between you two as the people who bought the property, and additional two people renting from you, um, the households all together, if you break it up evenly, will be paying $500 a month. If you want to get some, profit from it, you'll have to raise your rents above that. But imagine if there were four different households living in the space, paying $500 a month, and two, three, or four of the households have ownership in the space. And so by having shared ownership together of a space, you've reduced your cost of living for all the households involved, and you each have privacy. You have your own, household, and you can do what you want to do with your household, your space. It's a great opportunity to lower the cost of living for everybody involved, and shared expenses throughout. And then what's beautiful about this is once the property value increases, then you guys have equity that you can then use toward other purchases. Or, in a similar fashion to what we know to be true about a lot of immigrant families that came here, is that they shared expenses, right? So that they could then save money and have a cash flow that they can then use toward, bigger purchases. So let's say, for example, you guys start out with this co-op purchase of this fourplex, right? And everybody's paying about $500 a month toward the mortgage. And then you're able to save money because now, without getting an increase in income, without getting a raise, without having to work an extra job, you didn't have to change anything, but now that your cost of living has been reduced so much, you're able to save money. So imagine if you're going from renting a space for $1,000 a month to now your portion of the mortgage is only 500, right? That means every month you could save $500 and put it into an account, right? Now imagine that by the end of 1 year, now you've got $6,000 in savings. So imagine what you could do with that. You wouldn't have to necessarily stay in the shared space anymore. You could retain your partial ownership, right? But now you've got $6,000 that you can now reinvest. Okay. Or you have the option of staying in the shared space and continuing to live there because it is going to be so cheap. Um, and it's just a great way of thinking about it in terms of wealth building. So if you feel like, you know what, I can't possibly do this on my own, right? Consider doing it in this option so that you guys can share the down payment. Or if one of you gets the property, and you're filing it as being a residential, you could get it for lower down payment than this. But the idea is that with it being a fourplex, that's the power of it, is it's a great cooperative opportunity. Now, there are also cooperative purchase opportunities with doubles as well, where two people will come into a situation to buy. So let's say, for example, if I go back to the search location, I'm going to change it to a double. There's going to be a lot of options there. So let me go to the map. Oh, zoomed in too far. So you get a look at how I locate really great properties. So this is kind of a look into that. So let's see. I chose doubles. Let's find one reasonably priced. Okay, there we go. Yep, that'll work. I think this is one of the ones that didn't do any photos on the inside, though. Oh, they got some. Okay. Oh, no, not in good condition. Oh, God, no. Okay. I want to show y'all one that's in good condition. So let's go back here. Let's see. Okay, I'm familiar with this street. This is actually in Algiers, though. Not that great. So yeah, this is basically like part of my job is like looking at properties, trying to figure out which ones are worth looking at. This one's decent, but the photos are really tiny, so I don't like that. Let's see. Oh, I've seen this one before. This is like a really big property. Yeah, this one's pretty decent. Okay, so let's take a look at this one. So this one's in pretty decent condition. It's a double, and they're asking 204,000 right now. So let's go back to the mortgage calculator. Remember, this is going to show us with property taxes and insurances included. Let's say that we're going to do the 3% down instead of the 5% down. All right, so look at that. So your mortgage is 1389, and let's imagine that you decide to share this expense with another household. Now, both of the households only have to pay about 700 a month in order to live in this space, and that covers your taxes and your insurances. And so it's a way of both of the households then, benefiting. And as you can see, buying the fourplex with four households, of course, was a little bit cheaper because the mortgage was 2,200 among four people, and so it's more like 500. So clearly, whenever you're sharing the space with more people, obviously it makes it a little more affordable. So keep that in mind as an option for how you could advance your financial situation as a group. If you have other, just people in your life that you're of like mind, you're focused on the same things. Understanding that, like for me, for example, where I live, like I don't charge an excessive amount for rent because I consider this to be a cooperative. Even though the property is in my name, I don't want to overcharge everybody else living here because they're helping me afford my space, right? So with that, since I feel like the people who live in the other units are, they're helping me out, I may as well help them out. That's why I always say I'm an activist first and I'm a real estate agent second, because my focus is financial growth and community taking care of each other. So this is just extending that, message to other people that, owning property is more than just having a home in your name. There's benefits. There's the cooperative option. There's the reinvestment based on your equity. So if you buy a property, it increases in value. You can apply some of that increase in value toward future purchases, also toward investing in your business if you have a business. Um, it's a tax deduction, just like a dependent. So many just various things. And if you're interested in the 7 primary benefits of home ownership, I can send that over to you. I do have an article where I list them very simply, like boom, like look at this 7 benefits. Are these benefits that you're looking for in your life? You can let me know. So I wanted to share this to show you how that process would work with a fourplex, with a double, so you can kind of get a feeling for it. And, I'm encouraging you guys to think about it because tax season is right around the corner. And that means a lot of people are going to get tax refunds. It's going to be that hot season of the year. This is the season where the real estate industry tends to spike because people are trying to reinvest at the beginning of the year. So if you guys are interested in shopping, taking a look at properties, the first thing I always say is get it in your mind what it is that you want, right? What is the vision for the property? And then If we find something that fits that vision, grab it. Grab it if it's in your budget, right? But the first step is knowing what your vision is. And then that way you'll know when you see the property if it's something you want to go for. All right, so I'll talk to you guys soon. If you have any questions, let me know. Drop a comment or a message if you would like that article about the 7 benefits of home ownership. Sending you guys peace and wishes for a warm and beautiful weekend. I know it's cold, but y'all stay warm, please. Peace.